everyone, I'm Caroline.
I'm Phil.
And the noise is Phil hasn't turned his computer volume off.
Hang on. I'll get there now. I was listening to the nice music along with the rest of you.
Oh, and thank you so much, Brian O'Brien. It's just come up on the screen. Now, I know Phil thanked you earlier. Thank you so much for your coffee donation. It's really kind of you, and we really do appreciate that. Thank you so much.
We do indeed, yes. I was listening to the music and I was so busy listening to the music, Caroline suddenly goes, oh, I've got to put the volume on.
No, it was about 12 seconds and we've got a dodgy button on our microphone. I've tried to turn the button on.
And also, apology that we started a few minutes late.
My fault.
My fault, really, in fairness.
I want it to be my fault.
All right, you can have the blame this time.
Oh, no, I wasn't serious. You can have it.
Yeah, what it was, I've been very busy and I hadn't checked the emails since yesterday morning, and when I went on the emails about 15-20 minutes before we came on air, I discovered there were 2 emails there with pictures that we so wanted to share tonight. So I quickly transferred the email down to Caroline's computer, not realising that when Caroline uploads the pictures, she can't start the live stream until she's done it. So we were literally sticking these pictures on to ready to load tonight, so we will be sharing some images with you later.
If we can say it.
But the cost to that was we got the sort of preamble music going 6 minutes late.
Yes, the countdown was a bit late.
Yeah, but still.
But thank you, you've still all joined us, and it's great fun, and it's lovely to have you here on a Saturday night when you probably got other things you could be doing, but you all come in for the chat because it's lovely to see you all getting on so well.
Yeah, right. 56 in at the
56
moment.
in, oh, wonderful.
Fantastic.
Quite a gang of us tonight. I don't know how you all fit in my house. It's amazing.
I tell you what, I've stood in front of many a congregation smaller than 56 and preached in my day. So being here tonight with 56, that's a full house.
Right, let's have a look who the first 3 in. And very keen, first in was Ed Creative. Well done, Ed, who did have an interesting suggestion. I noticed in the chat saying that if we find Manky's grandfather, we would then have Manky, Panky and Grampy.
Yes.
Eventually we're going to have a house full of pandas.
I tell you, there'll be more of them than us.
And in second place was Jen W. Well done, Jen. And in third place is Ed Creative. So you can't have two podium places, so we go on to Lisa Roberts. Well done, Lisa Roberts. And congratulations to Ed for being first and third. Quite an achievement.
Indeed.
Right, I'll get to the bottom of my chat now and see what's been going on. There we go, lots of people in tonight. Lovely to see you all here. I noticed in the chat some of you have been doing gardening. Now, I know this isn't strictly related to the video we did this week, but I'm just going to show you what I bought.
It's kind of related because we did do the fact that they did an agricultural test on the mountainside.
Yeah, so this is sort of related.
It was in 1836, so it was a little while ago, but it's kind of related. We'll get away with it, don't worry.
I went to Asda's. I've been looking for some plants for my garden, and I put the plants down in the greenhouse, but I'll show you what I bought. These were 3 for £5. The plants were about this high, and that's on top of the pot. And so I got a ceanothus there, and that's actually flowering at the moment. And I got a Photinia. It's one of those ones that goes really bright red, so that's going to be gorgeous. It's actually quite bright red now. And a cistus, which I've never had before. So I thought, that's pretty. I like the dots on the pink. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, and it's a bit blurry, isn't it?
No.
There we go. So that looks like it's going to be fun. That one's quite, I imagined it would be more bushy shrubby, but it's more sort of perennial shrubby. It's very soft, so I don't know if that's because it hasn't been well looked after. But 3 for £5 I thought was a good price in Asda's.
Yep.
There we go. I've got those to go in my garden.
We are definitely, we've always been bargain hunters, but even more so now because, to be honest, a lot of the things we look at, particularly when it comes to gardening, and we think, that's mad.
Well, I went to the garden centre and I was looking at plants that before COVID were $4.99. They wanted $12.99. I thought, in principle, I am not paying $12.99 for that plant. I will buy a packet of seeds instead and I'll grow it myself.
I keep hearing figures on the news of, inflation's at 10%. And then I go to the shop and I see something I bought 6 months ago that's doubled in price. And I'm thinking, and nothing's going down, so where they get the 10% from, I ain't got a clue. But it's certainly making it interesting for the bargain hunters among us, and I think there's a fair few of us around.
Yes.
And 3 plants for £5. I think that was very
Love a
good.
bargain. Abigail said, what's with the ducks in the background? And I just thought we'd have a change. This is one I had off my son a couple of years ago for Mother's Day, as you do. They know I'm crazy. And this is one I picked up in a charity shop for 50p. And then this one came to me in a big box of Peeps with a special free Peeps chicken as well. That was lovely. I've eaten all the Peeps, needless to say.
That's the only way you can give Caroline a peep and it lasts more than 24 hours. You have to buy her a toy peep.
Yes.
But, and Caroline is or was quite a collector of ducks at one time.
Yes, I've got a lot somewhere. I'll have to dig them out and we change our duck display.
Yes.
Every day, every week.
Because
Not on every day.
On Caroline's 50th, we went to Blackpool. For those who don't know what Blackpool is or where Blackpool is, where have you been all your lives? Blackpool is known as the Las Vegas of the North. It's on the northwest coast. It's wet and windy, like most of the West is, such as Wales. But they've got a tower. It's not quite the Eiffel Tower, but it's still well famous in our area. And the big thing with Blackpool is the amusement arcades. They have so many amusement arcades there. It is just a mile of them. And the lights. Because the clever people of Blackpool decided they could extend their season by simply sticking up a load of lights. And now, when every other seaside area up there would be winding down in September, they turn the lights on and they draw in a crowd for a little while longer. We went there on Caroline's 50th. Caroline went to the amusement arcade, and in this amusement arcade, you could put in tuppenny pieces and move the shove pennies that used to be in the good old days. Now it's 2 pennies. And move them along. And on the top, the prizes were ducks. And I think we must have won about a dozen ducks.
We did.
Little ducks, little plastic ducks that we won on Caroline's 50th. So they were decorating the shelf up in the upstairs cloakroom, weren't they, for a while? All these little ducks, pirate ducks and all sorts.
They collect a lot of dust though.
Yeah, a lot smaller than this chap.
Yes.
And every time a duck would come off, it would get jammed because the slots were originally designed to carry tuppences, not ducks. So I'd shout over, and the guy up there, and I will apologise to all people from the northeast now as I destroy your accent, but he would say, "Oh, your duck is stuck." And in the end, I was shouting to him, "Her duck is stuck." And he was coming over and open the door, get the duck out, get the duck out. And we had a big stack of them all lined up.
That's my idea of a birthday celebration. I know I'm weird.
I know, it's bad.
Rachel Bailey said, on a good day, I can see the tower from the course where I live.
Oh, there
It's
we
like
go.
a smaller version of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
If you're from another country and you don't know what on earth we're talking about, put it into Google, Blackpool,
Look at
Tower.
Blackpool, and you'll see all. They got the tramways. They've got
brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, they've got
Huge
the lights.
Huge funfair.
Yeah, people book coach loads and they all go up for the lights. It's been a tremendous success, a clever idea. How do we get people to come to the seaside when the nights are drawing in and the weather's getting colder? Whew, 1.5 miles of street lights.
Yep.
They have their Christmas lights well early.
They do. Very busy there then. Oh, thank you, Meredith. Meredith likes my scarf.
Yeah, I
So
thought I'd
I'd
join.
tonight, so I thought, oh, put a scarf
Well, I
on.
thought I'd join in. See, coordinating
Oh,
almost.
look at you. You were a
Almost
more
coordinated.
college boy.
I got my blazer on as well, look.
Oh, yes, there
I
we
can
go.
pretend I've been to school
You can.
for the first time in my life, practically.
Yeah, without your tie on, typical.
Yes, yes. I remember we were doing a production in school. I did go occasionally. When they were doing the production, I used to go into school to do practice for the production, even though I wasn't attending school at the time because I found other things more interesting to do. And we did a production which was based on Monty Python's Flying Circus, which was massive back in the day, in the early 70s. Mid-70s, sorry, I'm not that old. And we were doing the Lumberjack song. And in order to sing it, we had to wear hankies on our heads with knots tied in them. And we had to wear our school tie tied so that it was very short at the back, but then about 3 foot long on the front. There was only one problem. I went to school so little, I couldn't find my tie. So they had to borrow a tie off one of the girls for me to wear so that I could sing, "I'm a lumberjack, I'm okay, I sleep all night, and I
you
work
mustn't
all
even
day.
say the words, because if the bot picks it up,
And
it's really angry.
I'm not singing.
Alright, Ed said, I can see 2 tower blocks behind my flat.
Oh, there we go.
Blackpool tower blocks, so. Is it sort of central Cardiff you're in, Ed? I think so, isn't it? I'm not sure. Lynn said, Blackpool, that's where you put £10 in the slot machines and receive a 50p toy. Yep. Oh, you see people put in pounds, especially in the ones with 5p's, which are now like minuscule. And it's pounds and pounds and pounds going in the thing. I'm there with my £1 in my bag. Sometimes it's my birthday, £3.
Oh, look, we got a story of kidnapping, yeah?
Ooh.
Yeah, my dad was abducted. I thought it was going to say by aliens, but it's by a lady on the beach, when he was about 2 or 3 at Blackpool. He remembered it as being very, very busy on the beach during the summer, and he lost sight of his mum and big sister.
Scary.
Ooh. I remember our little one went running into the water at Bournemouth Beach, and we were all on the beach, and it was very crowded, and they ran out, and for a moment they couldn't see where we were. So they panicked and started to run down the beach looking for us. And I panicked because I thought, I'm going to lose sight of him in the crowd, so I'm chasing through the crowd.
There are 7 miles of sand down in Bournemouth.
Yes,
it goes all the way to pools. So.
It is easily done though, and for little children.
You could just see this little head bobbing away, and Phil was
running like mad trying to get through the people because they panicked and thought I must be in the wrong place because they couldn't spot us in amongst all the people.
On the Reddit said a lady took him for ice cream and other treats and rides. Eventually she relinquished him at a police station. That turned out better than he could have.
I don't know, maybe he was thinking, no, keep me. I like all the ice cream and the rides.
Let's have a look. There was something I was going to say then and I can't find it now.
It's nice to see Rufus in tonight.
Oh, hello Rufus.
Hello, star of the show.
Abercombe Boy Boy.
Aye, Abercombe Boy Boy. Interestingly enough, when I looked up Abercombe Boy, all you could get from Welsh to English translation was Abercombe Boy. It just gives you Abercombe Boy as the English translation of Abercombe Boy. But if you put in Aber, it gives you estuary. And if you put in Cum, it gives you valley. And if you put in boy, it gives you boy or lad. So there we go. It's the valley with the estuary of the lad. And Rufus is the lad. There we go. But the full word
Cardiff
doesn't...
Ed's from.
Ah, right.
Right.
And
so that's near Thornhill then. Have I got my geography right there? Possibly not. Right.
And also there's a comment I saw earlier. Gosh, we're chatting tonight. It's great to see so much chat. It's just when I go to look for things, I think, oh, it got off the page. Beata was saying that a few more days and I'll be driving on the left. When do you actually arrive on our soil? Beata, when are you coming in? Because you're staying in the... Was it in the Bath area you said you were staying?
I'm just looking for Blackpool Tower link for Beata. I'll be back now any second.
Any second. She's looking for a link. She's looking at on the 27th. Oh, 5 days.
Not long then.
No, 27th. That's the next day that I've got to actually go to work. I work from home as well, but I have to be at work on the 27th. So we are actually sneaking away tomorrow for a couple of days and having a little break.
We are. We're going to
we're going to take Andy for a couple of days, aren't we?
Yes.
Only very local. We're only travelling just an hour. Just going to park up and have a rest.
Yes.
And it'll give us a chance as well then to sort out a few things, get everything sorted, because we did go in RB up to AOY, but we spent so much time with my brother and his wife, which was brilliant, as well as travelling around and filming and everything, and I did 3 services while we were there, that we didn't have much time to get a few little jobs done on the caravan, so we can get everything sorted now, because we had a bit of a leak.
We did. Bit of a leak.
We had a bit of a leak in the caravan. The water mains in the caravan had a pinhole in it. That was fun.
Why is this carpet all wet?
Yeah, I took the cover off and there was this spray of water going up. If the sun had shone the right way, we'd have had a rainbow. So I got the old insulation sticky tape out, done a job on it.
Strapped it round.
And as long as that's holding, now I can put my cover back over. So I'll have some jobs to do. But a break from all of the things that we usually are doing. But we will be obviously making a video and getting that out for next week while we're away.
Midden's girl is going sea glass hunting to see him on the 5th of May. Let us know how you get on, because at one point people were saying, oh, there's nothing left on there, but then I've heard people saying, yes, there is, there's tons there. So let me know how you get on. Send us some pictures if you like.
Beata's going jousting. Are you going jousting? Or are you going to go and watch the jousting? Because on the 29th at Blenheim Palace, jousting.
Wow.
Then Bath, Weymouth, Lyme Regis, Salisbury, Stonehenge, Windsor.
Wow.
You've got a full schedule. You really have.
Right. Oh, Ed said a Welsh caravan with a leak in it.
Oh, yes, indeed.
I prefer a different type of leak to the one we had. Right then, shall we have
a question? Okay, everyone. Now, I've got to be honest, when I was researching Abercrombie, I found some really interesting things. In fact, there was more about Abercrombie than I included in the video, and some of that will come out in the questions tonight. Because the things I knew were superseded. Do you like that word?
Superseded.
By the things I discovered.
Getting technical now.
And one of the things I discovered was this amazing story about the man who gave the name to the field, which became the Silver Field. And it said in the story, and it wasn't a fable from now, looking back, it was actually an account written in 1834 when it happened. So I was looking at a document that recorded this. It actually took place where this poor labourer, as they described him, discovered while dismantling a stone wall a purse with silver coins in. And I thought that was fun. The fact there was a link, they believed the only explanation was it was put there by somebody in the Civil War. Now, there were fairly wealthy people on both sides. You know, some of them parliamentarians, they had some money, as well as the Cavaliers, they had a fair bit as well. So somebody, they thought, stashed it for safekeeping, and it possibly didn't survive the skirmishes, never got back. But the lovely thing was that the owner of the land decided to let the man have the benefit of the money. I think from the way I was reading it, it was held in trust for him by possibly a local parson, who then used it for the benefit of the man and his children, with the possible thinking that that amount of wealth suddenly arriving with a man who was a labourer, possibly uneducated, people may take advantage of him, and he could find himself without his money very quickly. But it really benefited his children. Now, I did list the coins that were in there and the eras they came from, and it included, among the silver coins, groats. Now, that's not a coin that was around in our lifetime. It was minted by most English monarchs, not all, for about 500 years, until 1856, when it was no longer minted after that. Now, there were 12 pennies in a shilling. How many pennies were in a groat? A, 4, B, 14, or C, 24?
Go.
How many pennies in a groat?
Oh, my go didn't go.
1 shilling had 12.
You confused yourself now.
Yeah, 1 shilling had 12, so I'm asking, first question is, do you think a groat is bigger or smaller than a shilling? Because if it's smaller than a shilling, you've got to go 4. If it's bigger, you've got a problem, because you've got to choose between 14 and 24. So where do you think the groat comes in?
Oh, Miss M. Terry Lane subscribed today. Love it. Oh, thank you, M. Terry Lane.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Really great. And you're very welcome here. And if you jump in with the chat, everyone's so friendly. You'll be right at home. There's a lovely bunch of people in the chat.
Indeed. And we've got 72 of them at the moment. Not all in the chat, because those on TVs can't join in the chat. My mum was saying she watches it on TV. So if you're watching, mum, hello. And
Lexi said, hi everyone, not really here tonight because I am currently sat in my car pulling folk to pieces with my best friend.
Right.
The mind boggles, Lexi. We may need you to expound on that just a little bit.
Are they literal people that you are pulling to pieces in a car, because if you are, then you could get arrested for that, you know. I'm sure it's not allowed that you dismember human people on the highway. I'm sure there's a law against it. It's got to be. So, let's have a look here. Well.
So, do we have a winner?
We do.
Now, you're going to tell us who it is.
Well, it's interesting because the first 4 were wrong.
Ooh.
Then the 5th one was right. So, let me tell you something, folks. The vast majority of you assumed that a groat was bigger than a shilling, and it ain't.
It sounds more important for some reason.
It does. Because the other 2 coins that were smaller, in fact, there were more than 2, but 2 of the coins were smaller were the threepence and the sixpence. So they give you a bit of a clue. But of course, you also had the farthing and you had the halfpenny. Well, the halfpenny is half penny, and it's just a mutation. But when it comes to the groat, it was actually 4 pennies. But the reason I stipulated English monarchs is because them Scots, they do like to be different. They do like to be different. And at one point, the Scots decided that they'd make it bigger.
Bigger?
They did. And I think they made it 8 pence.
Ooh.
Just to be different.
Why not?
They do like to be different.
Good to be different.
I think it is. And I think they're a wonderful, wonderful bunch of people. But for the purposes of our answer, English monarchs, 500 years, 4 pennies. So, who was the 5th answer? Judy Erickson. But now it gets interesting, because I'm going down and everyone's getting it wrong. Until I come to Rufus.
Oh, well done, Rufus.
Who got it wrong 10 places before.
Yeah, but then got it right.
But then decided, I'm having second thoughts. Went from B to A. Don't know if he Googled it, but it's all fair in love and war.
You can find your answers however you like.
Abercombe Boy comes in on silver on our first question on our Abercombe Boy night. Our first entry was Judy Erickson.
Oh, well done, Judy. Sorry, I missed that.
Judy, Rufus.
Well done, Rufus. And... Oh!
Talk of the Scots, Christina Cook.
Well done, Christina. Oh, that certainly wasn't an easy one, was it?
No, and after that, Sandy Black got it right. Deborah Brooks got it right. Rachel Bailey got it right. And that's it, folks. So we only had 6 correct answers tonight on that first question. It caught everybody out. I thought it might, because it sounds, as you said, more important. Almost sounds like a groat is more than a shilling. And that's why I thought...
Well, I suppose you could look at it. It sounds like an oat. Rather so.
Well, actually, I thought it sounded like a goat with a R in it.
Yep.
Yeah, a goat that rolls his arse. So there we go, folks. That's the judge's decision tonight. It was, just to double check that I got it all right here.
Yes, Richard, 570 was wrong.
yeah, I chose not to take that out. So it's Judy, then it was Rufus, and then Christina. They were the 3 podium places. But see, you learn all sorts of interesting things here. You now know how many pennies, which are no longer in existence, were in a groat that hasn't been in existence since 1856. So, if that should come up in a conversation, you can look so intelligent. And they say, how do you know that? And you say, we go with the Johnsons.
Yep. That's right.
I tell you, all manner of things you learn here that are useless unless you happen to be on a pub quiz or you're on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Fancy sitting there for the £1 million question and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And they say, what was the value in pennies of a groat?
Well, now you'd all know and you'd all win the million.
That's right. Or you'd all be throwing things at the telly because the guy on there didn't know. That's what was it?
Phone me, I know.
What was it Chris Tarrant's saying was? They're all easy as long as you know the answer.
That was him, was it?
Yeah, that's what he used to say. They're easy if you know the answer. Because people used to struggle. And people in the audience, you could hear them gasp.
Oh, they used to,
they used to know it.
A really easy question. They'd ask something about...
Sorry, I just went to move and I kicked the desk and the camera's fitted to the guest.
I'm trying to put you right.
I'm wrecking the joint.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's fine.
There we go. I forgot what I was saying now.
the audience we were talking about in the question. These questions used to go up that you knew the answer to.
Oh, that's right. No, on the easiest question of all. And I would use all my lives up because it'd be a question about Coronation Street and I don't watch it, or EastEnders.
Or cricket.
So cricket, football.
Yeah. Famous people, don't know them. I don't know them. I know some wonderful people, but none of them are famous. But that's the way it goes. Yeah. So, as I say, and then you'd come then and it would be like the £50,000 question.
It'd be an easy one.
And they'd ask something like, who cut off Daniel's hair? Or in which book of the... As soon as they asked the Bible question, because I was brought up going to chapel all the time as a kid, I knew all the answers. So, there you go. I could have won the 50,000, but I'd been knocked out at 500 quid.
You seem very shaky today.
That's me with my feet. I'm using the lower part of your desk as a footrest, which isn't a good idea because it's got wheels. We are so professional.
Hanging on to the thing. I was just going to say, Celtic Druid said, have you thought of doing a history of Bargoed? We are going to do one day, but I don't know when. Now, Celtic Druid, that's Andrew. He's got a channel if you want to check him out, have a look at the sort of thing he does as well.
Andrew asked that last week, and he did ask me, and I did say we certainly will at some point, because there is history here.
Yep. I think every town's got an interesting history. Who would have thought about the things we discovered at Abercrombie? We never realised.
No.
We thought, let's have a look into Abercrombie, seeing as we're always talking about it, and there was a history.
Yeah, and I dare say that Bargoed, our hometown, because I have done, of course, there's an awful lot of history in this channel before we went over to travel and history. I've done Bristol, where I was born, the history of Bristol, that's in there. We've done lots of history down, wherever we've gone, we've put history in them, we pretty much, because it's something I like doing. But we'll certainly have a look at Bargoed at some point. I think we did do some history of Bargoed.
Oh, that was I think when we first started, we did some.
Yeah, because we went down the river here and talked about Bargoed Colliery and Bargoed Town, because we showed the picture of the miners and that, But we will have a look into that. And
right, so what were you going to say when I
was going to say, shall we show some pictures from... Who have you got up first?
I'm not sure. Let's have a look. Right, then we're going to have a little bit of a lucky dip now and see which pictures come up first.
Right there.
So we've got Canada.
Right, these are from Rebecca Wilson, who is in Nova Scotia and has invited us in for a cuppa when we're passing, which would be fantastic. And they were saying last week, while planting hascaps, and I have to look that up, but they're an interesting plant, in our yard, on our farm, we discovered a midden from 1850 to 1870. I have been back to the area and done a little digging, turning a shovel or two, now and again, and today I found it. A bit of pipe stem!
No, just a minute.
There we go.
There it is.
Bit of pipe stem.
I'll make it look nice and neat for you and move it to the middle.
There you go.
Oh, I think I can even make it bigger.
There it is.
Look at that.
There it is. And Rebecca was so thrilled, knowing how much Caroline enjoys finding pipe stems. She was excited too, and had to share the discovery with you, she said. So there we go. We thought we'd share the discovery with everyone else.
Hopefully you'll find it as addictive as me when you've got a pipe stem. I just love them. I'm not sure what it is. I really love them.
Can you imagine having a midden in your garden?
Oh, I'd love it.
The back.
Be wonderful. I'd never be in the house. I'd be out there all the time.
But there we go. That's a midden in the backyard, discovered by Rebecca Wilson, who's one of our followers who loves the channel, she said, and enjoys it all. So that's good fun. Yeah, and
right, so do you want to do the next lot? Should we have another question, then we have the next lot of pictures?
We can do the other pictures later. We can do the other pictures later. Okay, question number 2. Get your thinking caps on, folks. As I explained when stood in front of the street sign, Tai Cap Coch, the original name of Abercrombie was Cap Coch, because that is a translation to English of red cap, because there was a chap who owned a public house who used to wear a red cap, and therefore people used to say, oh, we're going down to red caps, because the pub was virtually all that was there, a little farm dotted here and there, and as it grew, it just stayed with it. Just red cap was what it was called, Cap Coch. So my question is, you know that the Welsh Cap Coch translates to red cap, but what does the Welsh word tai, T-A-I, that was on that sign translate to? Is it street, that'd be A, houses, that'd be B, or terrace, that would be C?
Go.
So do you think it's Cap Coch Terrace, that would be C, Cap Coch Houses, that would be B, or Cap Coch Street, which of course would be Red Cap Street, A, Red Cap Houses, B, Red Cap Terrace, C. Let's have a look where we're going here.
Oh, there's a little bit.
Now,
I'd say C seems to be the most popular, I think. A isn't very popular. B, I think, is the middle. That's without counting them. Just a quick glance. That's what I would say. Oh.
Richard's got an interesting one. He thinks it's egg.
Nah, it could be, but maybe
Red
that's
cap
in
egg.
Swahili or
Red cap egg.
but not in Welsh. Right then, so do we have a winner?
Just to say, correct, Linda, it is. Midden is a rubbish dump, usually of household waste. Before we ever had people picking up the rubbish, people literally did landfill on their own properties.
So you had no one picking it up, so you throw
just
it in the garden?
Dug a big hole, go down about 3-4 feet, chuck all your rubbish in, then put a foot of earth on top, and you could grow on it again.
There have been people who've actually been
garden.
digging the garden and found a whole car buried in the garden. So it just goes to show people were quite ingenious in those days to get rid of the rubbish.
How to dispose of it?
Obviously, this was after cars were invented. This isn't back in the 17th century.
If you've got a stolen vehicle and the police are coming around, just dig a big hole in the garden. Problem solved. Okay. So.
Richard said, I panicked.
It's terrible when you get these awkward questions in foreign languages. Right, well, the first three answers, other than Richard, who thought it was egg, all agreed with...
The other said, she thought you said mitten. It's very similar. Yeah,
it's a midden.
Especially if it's not your first language, then D and T sound very
with
similar.
with my pronunciation, I'm not very clear on my diction. So
no, you're not.
Mitten.
No, both of us do have a lot lacking in the pronunciation department.
Yeah. Anyway, to come back to the question, the first three answers, other than Richard, who said egg, all agreed with Caroline's guess, and this is to make you feel better because Caroline's a Welsh girl in the valleys who did Welsh at school, and you all got it wrong because it's not C, it's not terrace. So then we come down a bit further, and the next two people thought A, then C, so they're all wrong because it's not street either. I've got to come down to Susan Hayward to get the first B. And B is correct.
Well
it
done,
was
Susan.
Red Cap Houses. Because we said we haven't seen that word before. And we see a lot of street names that would have Hiol on there or Street on there, which is street or road, and hill. You got all those, but I hadn't seen that. I've never seen that.
It before.
And it is actually houses. So, Susan Hayward, you are on gold. Meredith Small,
Meredith, well done.
you are on silver. And Glenda Weiss
Well done, Glenda.
is on the bronze, with a special mention for Michelle Grady because they were right next door to each other.
Right,
And
so
there are,
nearly.
yet again, I would say B is the rarest answer on the board, at least in the first half. So there we go. It was houses. Yeah. House is T-Y, T. And the plural is T-A-I. And as I said the other week, don't knock the Welsh. We might not always pronounce all our letters, but we got more vowels than most. because house is T-Y and then T-A-I, so see lots of vowels.
They're everywhere.
So there we go, folks, it's houses. It was red cap houses.
Lexi said there was a car buried in our garden. Think half of it is still there because my dad gave up digging it out. And Richard said, when I visited Jack, there is an old sand pit near his house with a few old cars dumped in it, an old washer and a stove. That'd be fun to completely dig out, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Ooh, I wonder what's in there altogether. One little treasure said in Scots Gaelic, house is tie.
Yeah.
T-I-G-H. Oh,
Yeah,
very similar, isn't it?
Yeah, Christina Cook was saying that Paul just said, that Gaelic for house. Mind you, the Gaelic, Welsh, Breton down in Brittany, all of the ancient languages of the Celtic nations have a lot of similarities. I noticed the word pont coming up quite a bit, which is the Welsh for bridge, and that comes up over in Brittany, doesn't it? So there's a variation, because obviously they were...
Oh yeah, I can see you, Laura.
It's the origins of our language are obviously somewhere back there from the same source, but as the Celts settled in various places, including Cornwall, because they've got their own language down there as well. There's a significant similarity in the languages and in the words, but then our spellings changing our pronunciations.
Beata, who's in Germany, said we say house spelled H-A-U-S.
There we go.
Well, that'd be a nice easy one for us to understand. Right then, so what are we doing now?
What are we doing now? We've got photos, you said. You said you're going to do the other photos.
Right,
yes, because these are photos sent in by a young man who I know has a lot of fans on this channel, and that's Oliver, because Oliver has been to the Forest of Dean. Now, the Forest of Dean is, I think, I got to watch it now, I think it was a royal forest at one point, but it's a huge forest that is tended and sustained by the foresters who live and were born on the land, and Oliver was there searching for bugs, because before Oliver got into mudlarking, as a result of watching ourselves and others, he was a bug watcher. He builds bug hotels in his house. He loves all things bugs. And these are some of the bugs that he has spied on his journey. Interestingly enough, the chap that invented Pokemon actually said that he was inspired from his own childhood, where they used to go out looking for bugs. And then he thought, I could turn that into a game and cards and collecting. Because modern day children don't tend to go out into the country and do that, he thought he could use it and bring it in. So here we have Oliver, and he's been bug collecting.
I love that one of him walking off into the distance. It's lovely, isn't it? Very atmospheric.
Yeah.
He looks tired at the end of the day, going home for his tea.
Yeah, and he's had a wonderful time. And a big thank you to his mum, Kate, sending us the pictures.
Yep.
And it's lovely to be able to share them with everyone, because I know Oliver's got a lot of fans out there, because he is quite a little star, and I'm sure he's got a big future ahead of him. But he is a very intelligent little chap, and he takes a great interest in specific things. And like I say, it was a natural follow-on, I think, from his love of going out and finding the bugs and viewing them, to then being able to go onto his own river and discover Pipestem Bay, where his sharp eyes is one of the benefits of youth.
He's got really good eyes.
Yeah, but he did well there picking those up. So
okay, so Oliver sends a big hello. Hello, Oliver!
Hello! Nice to see you, my boy. Up late again tonight?
Yes.
Yes, special dispensation because the Johnsons are on.
We don't mind, you stay up and watch us.
Yeah, everybody else, it's Let's Go with the Johnsons, and for Oliver, it's a late night with the Johnsons. Which is great fun, because of course, for those who don't realise, it's just gone 10:15 p.m.
Yes.
Here in the UK, which is why everybody in the UK is getting tired. Okay, rightio. So do you want another question now that we've done the photos? Okay then, folks, here's a little bit of the history that didn't get brought up in the video. Because in the video, I did refer to heavy industry and the impact it had had on the growth of the town. I mentioned the Aberarman brickworks and I mentioned the Abercwmboi colliery. But there was a major industry. There was a major industry in Abercwmboi from 1942 to 1991, which I read an account in one newspaper that said, for many, it resembled a relic of the Dickensian era, belching out thick black smoke through its towering chimney stacks, and was once dubbed the dirtiest workplace in Europe.
Oh, Lisa Jean interrupted Phil. Always a bonus.
Lisa.
Thank you so much. You've got a $4 super chat and a coffee for you. Oh, thank you so much,
That's
Lisa.
very
We
nice.
really do appreciate
Thank you.
it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your generosity. Is appreciated.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
And
You lost your place now.
No, I'm
Oh,
fine.
Well done.
So this Dickensian looking building with its towering chimney stacks spewing out smoke that was dubbed the dirtiest workplace in Europe. What was it? A. Was it an iron foundry? B. Was it a coke works? Or C. Was it a plastic processing plant?
Go.
What do you think?
Ooh, they're in fast now. Richard said it was well fast there.
Oh, Rufus must have gone to put the kettle on, because he'd have been in first on this. He'd have been in
Got
first.
lots of answers coming up. Kate, I assume you mean C because it's next door to V. And you put V, so suppose we can take that as a C.
Oh, Richard's lucky.
Right. So, do we have a winner?
Yes, we do. And just to show how temperamental things are when it comes to answers, I know people have said, I thought my answer was in front of somebody else's answer, and I thought I was third, and you said I was fourth. Richard was fast. Richard was so fast that on my screen, he's come in before the goal. But fortunately, on Caroline's screen, he came in after the goal. So it just shows that we're sat side by side using our laptops, and Richard would have been disqualified on my screen, but fortunately, it's your screen that counts, because yours is the live count, and he's in, and he's correct, and he's used the correct word, which is the furnaceite plant.
Well done,
Because
Richard.
what they had was a plant there that converted coal as it came out of the ground into a product that could be used in Aga cookers, boilers and the such like. And in order to do it, they had to burn the coal. And there was one account where they were saying the temperature could get so hot that if you had a zip, there was times when the zip would get so hot it would leave a red mark on your body that was still there after you got home from work, because they were working in such heat. And they said the black dust was just descending on them through their working shift as it came down, as the smoke went up, but then the particles just came down. So it was all down to a process of burning coal, not in order to completely burn it, to burn it to a point where it became a fuel that was suitable for these boilers, cookers and other things. And it was a rather dirty place, but it was a big employer. And there was a strong community. It was interesting reading the articles about it, because they said although the people that worked there was a very dangerous job, and it was a very hard place to work, and the health impact on the community was dramatic over the
Lots
years.
of chest issues
With
and things like that.
emphysema and such like, yeah. But they said the one thing they also remember was the camaraderie and the bond, a bit like with a colliery or anything else, of the men who worked there and their families. So it was B, the coke works, as opposed to an iron foundry or a processing plant for plastics. So it's Richard.
Well done, Richard.
Ed.
Well done, Ed.
And then I've got to go down the page to look for another correct answer. And that correct answer comes, in fact, there are 3 in a row, but the first one in was Beata Heinz.
Well done, Beata.
Who's obviously been doing her research and preparation for visiting the country and knew there was a fungicide plant there. There we go. So, but I will give a special mention to, as it was 3 in a row, Rachel and Glenda. Rachel Bailey and Glenda Weiss, because they were down 3 in a row, but Beata took that 3rd place. So it's Richard on the gold podium, Ed on the 2nd podium, silver, and then Beata has got the bronze. And as I say, Rufus must have got to put the kettle on.
Yes,
because I reckon Rufus would have definitely been in on a gold position for that one. I would have said, I'm back.
Oh.
Rufus says, I'm back. Well, you missed out, my boy. You had your chance to shine, because you would certainly have known that one. Certainly.
Nora Lee said, because I said, Kate, I'll assume you meant C because B's next door to it. As Nora Lee said, good point, Nora Lee, B is between C and B. So it still would have left us confused. I didn't think of it being next door to B. Thank you, Nora Lee. Richard, I researched the 1905 power station next door. So you were in the know. That wasn't a guess. You knew you were on.
Yes, I should imagine there would have been a fair few insulators and such likes running into that place. Off the top of my head, 168 acres. That was the size of that plant.
That's huge.
168 acres devoted to burning coal. When you think today that we're saying to the world, don't burn coal, for 49 years they did nothing but burn coal 24 hours a day and pump it into the air in that valley. Absolutely amazing.
They reckon the trees, all the leaves were covered in dust and soot, didn't they? It was
almost like a tar effect on the trees. And as I say, to see it now, for us to stand where we did and look at it, and it just gives you that sense of whatever happens, whatever we go through in time, there's always the future. I love the line when people say it came to pass, and that's the thing. Everything that comes in life will pass. And again, the modern industry is beginning to come in. But the big impact on people, not just their health, but a big impact on their incomes when places like that disappear. Because they're so vast, like we said about Eberville Steelworks. They employed thousands, I think it was 12,000 people at one point, which is mad when you think that they then shuts. You know, the colliery I worked in, over 1,000 people working in the colliery. Then you had all of the jobs related to it. Because the timber we used underground was phenomenal. The Forestry Commission in Wales, they were providing timber by the lorry load every day. And the train drivers and the bus drivers. And then you had all the miners buying cars with their income, which went the car manufacturers. The local, one of the things we noticed as a mark of the collieries closing was we used to have 3 or 4 new car dealerships in the valley. And now if you want a new car dealership, you've got to go to Cardiff or Newport to get a selection. There may be the odd 1 or 2 left around, but it's not like it was. It does have an impact.
I don't think there is any new car dealership before Cardiff or
I'm
Newport.
not sure if...
I think there is.
I know Arrow Ford in Pontefraith were still selling cars at one point.
They're not. I think they're a fancy goods shop now.
Oh, well, there we are. They're a fancy goods shop now. There you go. That one's gone as well. But yeah, big change. But over the time, things turn around. But as I said, at one point, 40 shops in Abercrombie. Now they got the chemist and the one shop there. But of course, one of the things that you find as well in the valleys is that one town's growth can lead to another town or village's demise. And Aberdare was the big town, and it's only 2 miles away from Abercrombie. So as soon as people will be able to travel and move around more, then Aberdare was a nice easy run. And I think that had an impact as well. But of course they had their famous bakery. Yeah, Kedwards Bakery. That used to draw people in. They used to say people would travel all along the valley for that. Amazing.
Rufus said, you know me, Phil, I worked hard to Steel, most polluted town in Wales. Now, the steelworks down there, there is a lot of pollution coming from in Port Talbot. Oh, it's beautiful to look at in the night. I love driving past in the night. You can see all the lights. It's so pretty. And Linda said, don't know if it was mentioned, but I really like your cooking session with Panky. Will Manky be making a guest appearance? I don't really know, because they're trying to work out who's going to do what work. Now, Panky is not into going out and about. She likes to be home. She likes to cook and clean and sew, whereas Manky likes to go out and be a star. So they're thinking at the moment they're probably going to keep separate roles, but they may occasionally come together and do something. They're not sure what yet.
Yes.
Manky is in control of his own empire. I have no idea what he plans. I just say yes and go along with whatever he says. He's a very entrepreneurial panda.
Indeed he is. Speaking of Port Talbot and the pollution, it was a lot worse in the 70s, and there's the famous joke by Max Boyce, and he said 2 men were arguing in the street, and the one said, gee, look at that sun. And the other one said, that's not the sun, it's the moon. He said, it's not, it's the sun. He said, I'm telling you, it's the moon. He said, no, it's the sun, it's the moon. Hang on, we'll ask this fella. Oi, fella, is that the sun or the moon? And he said, I don't know, I'm from Port Talbot.
There we go. Polluted, they never saw things.
That's right. That was the joke in the 70s that was told by the man himself, Mr. Max Boyce. Right, we had better have another question because our time is running out.
Whoops, nearly lost us then.
Okay, this is the penultimate question. You all know what the ultimate question is, but we have the penultimate question, which is, in the charity shop where Caroline visited, there were 6 chairs and a very ornate table.
Lovely.
The table had oriental figures in white gowns set against an ebonized black background, and then a sheet of glass was inset so that you never could have used the table
they were all
otherwise.
delicately carved, so it'd all got dirty. Oh, it was fabulous. I loved it. Really nice.
The question is, on top of the table, there was a big, bright yellow sticker saying reduced, and alongside it another yellow price tag. What was the price to buy the table? Was it A, £100, B, £200, or C, £400?
Go!
How much do you think they wanted for that table, folks?
I thought it was a real bargain. If we'd needed a table, I'd have bought that. I know it was a bit tatty. There were bits and pieces chipped off it, and getting things Japan fixed is very expensive, but I'd have loved it.
It's probably a mass-produced item that came out in... Remember, they used to do the boxed furniture back in even the Victorian times, and I think it probably came out in that way, but it was still exquisite.
Oh, still lovely.
You know, the fact that people... Because when they say mass-produced, these people are just doing a bit, passing it on, doing a bit. It's like a production line, and they were getting paid next to nothing when these things were made. But I think that if someone can value and appreciate the work they did, then that is good.
Well, Richard really values it because he would have paid £54,078. Wasn't that expensive? Look, it's a real bargain to you.
So does that come under A, B, or C, Richard?
Richard's
having a game all of his own.
Know.
He's having a game all of his own. He's having £54,000 worth of eggs. Right then, let's have a look, because we've got to get in the Manky question as well. So, the answer is you could have had that table and the 6 chairs for £200.
I thought it was very reasonable.
It was obviously a reduction in a sale, but it was £200, which means we're looking for B. In fact, we don't look for B because if I go down 6 answers, I get the answer £200. So there we go. Rachel Bailey, first correct answer, Rachel. You've taken the top slot, and that is with £200. Followed immediately by Colin Scott.
Well done, Colin.
With B. And now I'm going to search for another B. And it's Kate Millard.
Well done, Kate.
So Kate takes the 3rd spot. So there we go. That's our 3 in a row. Rachel, Colin and Kate. Kate, there we go. They're the top 3.
Right, so we're going to go straight into the final question, and you all know what that is.
Yes, it's gone 10 o'clock. Right then, folks. How many times did Manky appear in this week's video? Was it once, twice, or 3 times?
Go.
You can give me an A or a 1, a B or a 2, a C or a 3. What are you thinking?
He almost didn't appear at all. We were into the...
We were doing great. He'd gone off and I said, Manky, where is he?
Call him, I know. He had a wonderful time. Running up and down all the steps between the streets and wandering, paddling. You see, he always wears his wellies.
He thought the telephone box was fantastic. Oh, look out. We've got somebody going 1 extra again. They're trying to wind me up. Ian's trying to wind me up.
Ian said 4. We're gonna have I hope we're not going to have one of those debates again.
No, I've watched it 4 times.
Yeah.
And I've taken down the numbers.
And there was a sneaky one in there. So did you see the sneaky one?
Yeah, somebody's seen sneaky too.
Right.
Oh, we're getting lots of answers in on this one. So let's get all the way back up to the top. Right then, the correct answer, folks. Richard, you can't have minus 52.
Yes, he can. He's got minus 52. You express yourself, Richard. Feel free.
Yes, some people express themselves in the medium of mime. Richard expresses himself in the medium of incorrect answers.
Ed said, don't mistake Panky for Manky. Good point, Ed.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Panky when she's doing her cooking.
Yes, and I did put up earlier on.
But they do look slightly different. The choice of clothing at the moment is very different.
Yes, indeed. And I think it was Carol, but I'm not 100% sure because I didn't make a note. But somebody did suggest how pretty Panky would look with a bow, and Panky agreed and decided to give the bows a go because she wore a bow in her hair.
She's trying all different styles. She doesn't know what her style is going to be because she's been left abandoned for so long. The styles have changed so much. She has no idea what's available, so she's going to try it all.
Right then. So the correct answer is 3. Righto. The correct answer is 3, and we've got lots of 2s, but Ed Creative as 3.
Well done.
Mike Sage, lovely to see you, Mike. Hope you're feeling better this week, mate. I know you were struggling with your blood pressure last week. I'm on too well. Mike is in and taking the silver slot.
Well done, Mike.
And then Kate Millard again takes a bronze. And they're coming in thick and fast there because straight after Kate we got Glenda, Meredith, Michelle, Deborah, Sandy, all in a row. So they were all fighting for that 3rd place, but Kate took it. So there we go. That's our 3 in a row. It's Ed, it's Mike, and it's Kate.
Well done. Well done to anybody who got on a podium tonight.
Yeah.
Well done to everybody for trying, because getting it wrong isn't a problem. You know me, I usually get it wrong. So,
and for just to say before we say goodbye,
yes,
just so the people who are trying to figure out where the 3 were.
Oh yes.
The 1 was in the telephone box. I think you'll all have seen that. There was 1 behind the Graig Terrace when we came to the very top of the mountain area to look over the valley. He was behind the sign. The 3rd one, he was stood next to the mosaic that said Abercrombie. Now you may need to look at that again.
Oh, Phil said, no, cut it tighter.
So he's literally on camera
a second
for
or 2 at the most.
2 seconds. He's there, stood next door to that one. That's where the 3rd one was that lots of people may have missed. So there we are. I thought I'd clarify that for the people thinking, I've only seen him twice.
He is there.
There we go. So we better say goodbye.
Right. So thank you all so much for joining us. It's been great fun tonight and I've really enjoyed the chat. So we'll see you next time. But until then, don't forget, have fun. Bye.